Hello, everybody. Welcome to Keystone Clicks webinar, Research and Strategy. Today, we're talking creating and measuring your marketing goals. Um, I am Keegan Gallup. I am an account coordinator here. I already said welcome, but happy Thursday afternoon, everybody. We're almost made it to Friday. And with me and in the driver's seat for the first time, drum roll, please. Everybody on your desks right now. Margie Hayworth.
Oh my gosh, be scared.
Crowd noise.
Hello, everyone. Glad you're with us today to do a little bit of learning about how to measure your goals. My name is Margie Hayworth, as Keegan said, and I'm an account executive here. In fact, I may even be your account executive. I can't see who's all joined us so far. So if I haven't met you, glad to meet you. Hopefully I'll get to meet you in person someday when COVID lets up. Let's dive right in and get going. I'm going to let Keegan do our little normal PR announcement here, and then
Yep.
move into the presentation.
If you have been on one of these webinars with us before, I'm sure that you have heard me say this, but we are trying to give you guys as much as possible. So why not try to win a free book? Take a screenshot of a slide that stands out to you, post on social media. Our tag is at Keystone Click across all platforms. Tag us in it and just tell us how that slide is going to help you. It can be, something really simple to, you're just talking about setting your SMART objectives, your SMART goals, or it could be about one of the specific tools that we are going to cover later in this webinar. So take a screenshot, tag us, just tell us how it's going to help you and win this free book, Secrets of Ad Agency Owners, the Biggest Mistakes I've Ever Made.
Everyone likes free stuff. It's great. Win-win. So let's go ahead and dive right in. This is the fourth or fifth, I think, fifth part of the research and strategy webinar series, where we've talked a number of topics so far. We've given a little bit of fundamentals, talked about competitive research in the digital world, a little bit about keyword research, and content strategy. But before you ever spend a dollar, before you get going on your campaigns, now that you've done all this research, you need to know, how are you going to know that you are succeeding? And the answer, of course, is measurement. Why measure? Because marketing without measurement is like playing darts in the dark. You don't know where or how you can improve. You're throwing that dart out there. You're making an assumption that the left or right, that's in front of you. And you might even make changes or adjustments that hurt you instead of help you by doing things in the wrong area. And we all know the fun stops when someone gets hurt, when the dart misses. Unfortunately, most of the time, the thing that gets hurt is your budget. So we think that measurement is very important. The first part of measuring is setting goals. If you spend, if you spend time and money on campaigns, you want to make sure your goals are set so that you know whether you're achieving anything. So Keegan's going to talk a little bit about our goals here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we define our goals. We say everything needs to be a SMART goal. So SMART is an acronym. It stands for strategic, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So we've kind of talked about strategy throughout this, obviously, strategy and research webinar series. Today, we are really focusing in on measurable, how to measure your goals, what that means for your campaigns. Attainable, obviously that is something that you'll have to look at for your own business and your own company and see, is this possible for us to do? Instead of growing sales 1,000%, we're doing
yeah, I want that.
yeah. Relevant, obviously, you just want something that you want a goal that will help your business. Time bound, you obviously want to have a start and an end date, or time period for your marketing campaign. So those are the ways that we just decide our goals, making sure that they are SMART goals. Here are just some examples of SMART goals. And obviously, these change based on your industry and where your company's at, size wise, and what your business actually is. If you're B2B, or if you're e-commerce, all those types of things. So increase revenue by 15%, have a 50% close rate, increase the average sale by 10%. These are just some examples of SMART goals.
Yeah, for instance, I mean, each one of these has a distinctive number in them. You can set goals that may not have numbers, but it's easier to say that you have something measurable. That's what we're going to talk about today. Each of those they could be improved by increased revenue by 15% by the end of the year or in the third quarter. So this is a good start for some of these goals, but you want to make sure you have all of those elements there to really do it right.
Absolutely.
So how do you choose what those metrics should be, what those numbers are? You need to know what you are measuring. There's a lot of different things. We were talking about increased sales by, decrease the cost of, drive this many more people to my website. A lot of those are hard numbers. You can measure them: cost, profit, revenue growth, pipeline growth, the number of people who are visiting your website. There are also what we call soft numbers. These are often goals that are associated with content marketing or public relations or branding. They're things that are hard because they're intangible, but you need to find some kind of number proxy that'll help you understand whether you're getting there. Let's say your goal is brand awareness. You can measure the number of people who have seen your ad. You can measure the number of people who have clicked on it. You can even measure repeat exposure to it, but it's harder and more expensive to measure whether people actually remember you. I mean, you can do it with a survey, but here, those are the kind of soft numbers that we're talking about here. How do you know if people like and trust you? How do you know if you've increased engagement or customer loyalty? You'll find a couple things around that will help you say, I can see the needle moving in that right direction.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know about Margie, I don't know about you, but looking at numbers for me is super fun. So we're going to talk about KPIs a little bit later, and that's where we're starting to measure trends and see how things are going with your campaigns. But
right,
you said, Margie, these all stem from your goal, so right, making sure that they're measurable.
Exactly. So we understand we have goals, and we understand that we'll have different kinds of numbers that we're working at. But to even help you a little bit more, we're going to share with you the 3 A's of measuring metrics. These are criteria that help you choose whether that's a metric you want to use. So we've already talked about SMART, but is that available, that metric? Is it accurate? And is it actionable? And we're going to talk about each of these items in the next few slides.
Yeah, and I think, can I just interrupt for a second?
For sure.
These are also super important just to make sure that you're getting the correct numbers. I think you'll probably get to this eventually, but making sure that you're choosing the right numbers, going through these 3 A's will help you get to that decision.
For sure. So you want to make sure the data is available. And by available, you want to be able to collect it fairly quickly without expending a ton of effort that would far exceed the value of the piece of information. Remember in the last slide, we were talking a little bit about, are people aware of you? Or how do you measure awareness? Well, you certainly can go out and do a survey, and many companies do when they've been doing awareness campaigns for a long time, but there are other measures of awareness that are found more quickly and without the same amount of expense. One of the things we do here at Keystone Click is we have documents in which we record all of our key measures, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. And we even, in these documents, these big spreadsheets, record where to find that piece of information so that, hey, maybe it's been a month since you've touched it, or you're new for that particular data set that we're collecting. You know where to find it quickly and easily, so you're not taking a whole lot of time just finding the number instead of interpreting the number and what does it mean.
And I think it's really important to mention too that if you're really busy on something, then you can easily just hand that to somebody else and say, hey, do you mind just going through and finding these numbers for me? Because I know
I've never done that to keep
in our case a lot, sometimes we're too busy to focus on those things, so it gets handed off to somebody else who maybe has a little bit more time, or their clients aren't as active at that point. So just making sure it's, exactly, making sure it's easy to find and obviously available the first day.
So also, of course, you want your data to be accurate. I am just a big fan of Dilbert and his boss, so I just had to throw this one in there. So many times we find that we have inaccurate data, but we just make do. As the boss says, if I concentrate hard enough, I can forget it's bad. That happens way more than we want to admit. Much of our reported marketing and sales data doesn't stand up to scrutiny. It's something we've estimated or extrapolated, and that is going to damage the conclusions that we make using it. So make sure you are using a reputable source that is accurate, and double check your numbers, multiple sources. The third A is the data must be actionable, and in particular, I find this the most important one. If you're setting your goals and you're measuring things, the whole purpose of that activity is so that you can take an action that improves your business's situation. Don't bother measuring something that doesn't make a difference in what you're going to do. Make sure the data is meaningful and will move the needle forward if you make a difference in it, if you change it. So I really find the actionable one the most important of the metrics. But accuracy, sure.
Yeah. I would agree that it's probably the most important, but the other two are right behind it.
So. All right. So I'm sure you have heard this term before, key performance indicators. I've always called them KPMs. Some people call them KPIs. What's important here is that it's likely that you're going to have a lot of things you're looking at. There's going to be a lot of measures because you have multiple campaigns going on. In addition to that, there's different roles that different people play in the organization. You may have a role of a marketing manager, and so you're looking at a different set of data and you have different needs than perhaps the owner of the business. So you may measure and track different aspects of your marketing efforts. The important thing to do is to identify what are the key performance indicators and those are the ones that are going to tell you to take action right now. So if I'm a marketing manager, I might be looking at the detail for an email campaign in terms of, hey, did people open my emails? Did people click on things? When I get to the business owner end of things, I may be looking at, was this campaign too costly? Did it bring in people? Was it worth our time? So we've created a list of potential KPIs that have disappeared here. There we go. One, and these are in the order of specificity. Down at the bottom of a campaign, you're looking at site traffic, bounce rates, new users, email, newsletter open rates, and clicks. number of followers or social engagement if you're doing a social engagement campaign, something with social media, conversion of inquiries to qualified leads. Now we're moving down the sales funnel. Conversion of a qualified lead to an actual opportunity. The cost per inquiry, cost to acquire a new customer, cost per new dollar of revenue, and sales and marketing costs as a percentage of total revenue. So you see how these KPIs build on each other. You have to do the original ones to get to understanding whether the marketing cost is worthwhile when compared to your total revenue. So these are some potential KPIs that we suggest we would track depending on what your goals are and what your actions are for that particular campaign. I'm having a little trouble here for making this go forward. My apologies. I've been having trouble with my mouse. So it looks like my screen has frozen. And the next thing we want to talk about is tools. And I'm going to,
Oh, I see tools.
Yeah, there we go. We have tools now. Yay, technology. So Keegan's going to talk a little bit about the tools that you can use.
Yeah, so there are a ton of tools. And these are, we're just going to say a couple of them that we use, especially for these first numbers that you should be tracking. With that, we're starting with Google Analytics and talk about a huge tool. You can take entire week-long, month-long classes about Google Analytics. So there is
still not know everything about it.
Right. There's a ton of stuff in Google Analytics, and it's basically all raw data. It's pretty fun to look through. You can definitely get lost in there. One of the actually really cool things that we like to look at is how, since we're a digital company, we look at how users interact with a website. So they come to the home page, then what page do they go to next? And then where do they end up falling off? Where do they exit out of the entire website?
Right. And while not a metric, it does tell a story that helps you understand how your website is functioning for you.
Right, absolutely. And it helps you kind of piece together the story of your marketing goals. So if something is happening and you're trying to get people to a landing page, maybe people are maybe people aren't getting there and your website is the reason why.
Right. It helps you diagnose issues that you might see in your metrics. I think is where Keegan is going with that. You may have, you want a certain number of people to come to your landing site and they aren't getting there. If you look at behavioral flow, it can tell you why and where they're falling off. But another great thing about Google Analytics that a lot of people don't dive down deep enough in there, you can set conversion goals in Google Analytics. So you're not just seeing overall traffic or who's coming in from social or who's coming in from referral or organic traffic. You can also set goals for specific events on your website. Say you want to set a goal for how many people click and create a new bank account, or how many people click and send you a contact form to follow up on for a sale. You can set those conversion goals, and that's a really great, strong number for you.
Absolutely. And it gives you the perfect number for your KPI document to present to your boss, or if you are the boss, right? So another one that we use is Moz, and Moz is a paid platform, so you might not have the ability to use the entire thing, and it does do a lot of initial research. I know we talked about Moz and next slide in the past research webinars. But what you can do is you can kind of double check the work that you're doing. For this example, we are searching for Pizza Hut, and just to see where they check. So this is the Moz rank checker, obviously, where they rank in Google for the keyword of pizza. So it pulls up where you rank in Google. So Pizza Hut ranks #1 in the US for the keyword pizza. And then you can also see the difficulty of that word. So if other people are also, buying or using that keyword as well, and the volume. So that's the amount of people that are searching for it. I believe that that is per month. So obviously, a lot of people are searching that per month.
People love their pizza. One of the great things about these online tools is you can set up campaigns in them and they have a lot of different things. So we know that a lot of people set a goal of ranking, either being on page one or a certain kind of rank or seeing the rank move up. And these are the kind of tools that can help you measure how successful you're being at that. So again, as Keegan said, this particular, we just chose Moz's rank checker to show you, but there are many other tools in Moz that can help you measure other aspects of your campaign. And the same is true with SpyFu.
Yep, and you were just mentioning tracking how you're doing in keyword research, or sorry, keyword ranking, especially being found on Google is one of the most common questions that we get is how do I get ranked in the top three on Google? So we had an entire keyword webinar about that, but SpyFu, while it is a lot of competitor research, it's also really awesome for seeing where you rank in keywords. So that first picture on the top is SpyFu automatically pulls all the keywords that your website is ranking for. Obviously, Hut Pizza, we're still doing Pizza Hut. So Hut Pizza they rank pizzahut.com ranks #1 there. Another interesting thing, I kind of talked about tracking before, the bottom picture. Kind of gives you a trend line for how your entire site is ranking. Pizza Hut, there's a little, out on the left side of the August 1st panel, there's obviously a dip there, but then you can see, it's a little see-through, but you can see that it increases a bunch. And the reason for that is because Pizza Hut started using near me restaurants or restaurants near me, food near me. They started using that on their website and in their keywords and in their thought leadership. So it really increased their ranking a ton. And that red line is just the complete trend line. So as you can see, this month, that is way up for them.
They had a successful campaign. Clearly they set a goal and they did some work here to make that change happen. And then you can see the success happening right there.
Yeah. So,
go ahead.
Sweet. So those two were both, you have to pay to use them. So that's unfortunate. But one that's free and, really useful that a lot of people don't look at is just your analytics and social media. So this panel is just the Facebook Insights. So you have to have a business page to see this, but it gives you a ton of great information. And Margie, like you said before, if you're tracking something like brand awareness, or your goal is to have more engagement with your posts or increase your thought leadership, so you're looking at how many people have liked your page. These social media analytics are great places to find those. And then finally, we have your CRM, and the CRM it's a meaty one. So just for our example, we use SharpSpring here. And this is a drip campaign, an email campaign that we have run in the past. So these are just some of the metrics that we track: how many messages were sent, how many were delivered, an open rate, a click-through rate, and then I also included our top links within that email. So we can see exactly where people are going, what they're interested in clicking on. And this is really important for us because it helps us determine if our messaging strategy is going the way we want it to, and we are directing people to where we want them to go to.
Right. And regardless of what CRM tool you happen to use, they all have these kind of metrics somewhere in them where you can track your campaigns and see how you are doing. And often they have great dashboard programs as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, these are really the basics for your CRM. Your CRM can do amazing things.
Okay, so what's all this measurement for? We sort of talked about this, we're leading this direction. So, you've set your goals, you've figured out how to measure things. The purpose of all of this is to actually evaluate and improve your success. So, in our first measurement webinar, which was part of our initial series, we did a little exercise on how to measure ROI. But I thought it was a good review here. If you want to see the full exercise, you can go back and review that webinar. It goes through all the detail of how to measure this particular key performance measure in terms of ROI. But let's just take a quick look at this. Let's say we want to increase our website visitors. It's not exactly a SMART goal because we don't have a number or a time there, but it is a goal that a lot of us have. We want to see more people come to our website, because we want more sales, and that's a sure path to that. So here we have one set of things that you could measure, and we're going to build this up a little bit. Yes, we want to measure how many people actually came to our site. That's an indication of brand awareness. They are aware of who we are and they're coming to our site to check us out. Bounce rate is one way that you can measure loyalty. It also is a measure of, how much people are really reading through your site and paying attention to it and clicking through it. Then we take and use those measures to evaluate the campaign overall. So those are our raw measures. Now we're going to come up with a new one, which is conversion rate. How many people who visited the site actually converted to become a lead, the average value of each of those sales. And then in the end, we're going to come up with a number that is our marketing investment, time and money, so that we can calculate the ROI. So here we have all of those numbers in there, and you can see, hey, our campaign did succeed. We had more visitors to the site. Yay, the website changes, we decreased the bounce rate. That means people kept on our site and kept interacting with it. Hey, we've increased our conversions and the amount of our average sale. This is a bumping campaign. And
we all wish our campaigns would be this successful.
Yeah, exactly. We know how much time and money we've spent, the time value of the value of our time and the money we've spent on the ads. So that all worked. Oops, I went a little too fast. That all ended up working out to an ROI of 450%. Wow, what a successful campaign. So this is an example, a quickie example of how you can use your measures to determine whether or not you've succeeded in your goals. Yep. So here we are, already to the summary. Measurement helps you to make strategic decisions and to confirm that you are achieving your goals. And the steps to doing that are defining your goals, as we've talked about, make them SMART, and think about the 3 A's as you choose your metrics. So choose your metrics wisely. Are they relevant? Are they actionable? Are they accurate? Are they available? Use measurement to take actions that improve your results. Measurement for measurement's sake, and you end up with paralysis by analysis. What you're really wanting to do is to take action with those results. So I'm sure you have some questions, but before we get to that, we wanted to let you know that our next webinar, we're going to have an expert panel discussion. And these are really popular live webinars where several experts talk about the topic at hand, which is marketing research and strategy, share their viewpoint, and then entertain your questions. That's happening September 24th. From 1 to 2 p.m. And at this time, we'd like to see if you have any questions. However, Keith is abandoning us.
Yep. Will, I'm sure a lot of you, if you've known or if you've watched our webinars before, Will Jurgensen is going to tag me out. Because of COVID, I haven't been to the dentist in a long time, so I had to schedule a dentist appointment, and this was pretty much the only time I could get. So I will be leaving you, but I will be leaving you in great hands with Margie and Will. So feel free to ask them any questions. And if you're interested in boosting your bottom line, visit keystonequick.com/profits to get your free Guide to Profits booklet. It's just a bunch of tips in there that will help you basically increase sales.
Yep. Some great tips. Our contact information is here. And at this time, we'll start taking your questions.